Um, Thank you for remembering that, Justine. Yeah, so thank you all for joining us. We so appreciate you taking your time to kind of get any last minute information. We are, running around trying to get everything squared away, as I'm sure that you can imagine before a conference this size. So if there is anything that you need from us after this session, you're still not sure you understand, there's going to be some time for some Q&A, but please feel free to reach out to us. We don't mind answering any questions. We are never too busy for our speakers. So my name is Jody Bias. I will let the rest of the team introduce themselves. I am one of the technical assistance program managers for the community partnership schools. And I will pass it over to Justine. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure thing. Good afternoon again, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited. I'm the program manager now. I don't know if you all heard the updates, but I was the program coordinator for the technical assistance, most of which I met you or interviewed you on Zoom to ask you to be a speaker. But I recently became cohort three's program manager. So I'm excited to join the team. And Dr. Tawana Rollins is our program manager for cohort one. She is currently out right now. I don't know if you all know, but there is a flu going around. And so she's taking care of her and her son at the moment, but she sends all of her regards and well wishes to you all in her absence as well. Now, I am assuming that Mr. Alexius is not here at the moment, but he's our assistant director here at the Technical Assistance house, and he oversees cohort 4 and 5. If he shows up a little later or if he's running behind, I'll have him introduce himself when he gets here. If not, you'll definitely see him during API. And I'll pass it back to Jody.
And I thank you, Justine. I want to also point out that we have Naisha Logan in the house. Many of you were interacting with her early on in the phases of planning for speaking at our conference. But Naisha has moved into a different role, but she is still here and she is still supporting us, and we don't know what we would do without her. So, Naisha, do you want to say something?
Yeah, they've kicked me off the slides, guys. I wanted to put my picture up, but that's okay. So good afternoon. I had to look at the time to make sure it wasn't morning. So good afternoon, everybody. So great to see your faces. Happy that we have made it to this point. I know some of you I started talking to early on in this process, so it's great that we are finally here. Our old coworker, Dr. Tasha Wrench, used to make this joke about this being a wedding, and like the wedding is coming, guys. The wedding is approaching. The brides are ready. That is you all. And so we are so excited and happy that you have decided to join us with this event. And I know it's going to be amazing.
Thank you, Naisha. All right, so we only have 45 minutes. I want to make sure that we get to the important information, but it's also important that everybody kind of knows who else is on the call. So if you would like to introduce yourself in the chat to kind of keep it timely, go ahead and drop in the chat who you are. And if you want, you can put what you're going to be speaking about so that everybody kind of gets an idea. But you should be able to see some of this information in the Wooba app about all of our different speakers, but I'm going to be talking about that in a second. But go ahead and drop your introduction into the chat box. So while you're doing that, this is just an overview of the agenda. Thank you, Justine, for just kind of toggling back and forth, and because I'm skipping all over the place. But so we do want to make sure that everybody is familiar with the Woova app. It is going to be the primary method that we're communicating with all of our guests, especially and our speakers. You can see pretty much everything that you need to see on that app. So we will talk about that in a second. And we'll go a little bit over the agenda, and then we'll get to the important information about what do you guys need to know about the venue, about how the rooms will be set up, all of that stuff. And then what is it that we need from you? You probably already received an email from me talking a little bit about what we would like to gather from our speakers, but we'll talk about that again. And then we'll have time for Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the Wova app. You know, I would take the time to do a formal poll, but we're not going to do that. So how about if you want to raise your hand if you're already in the Wova app for this event, like electronically or visually? I think that many of you, if not all of you, have already gotten into the Wova app. Justine has been kind of our Wova queen over here, and she has been sending out a lot of notifications. So you should have, as a speaker, received a specific link that helps you to log in as a speaker. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, again, we'll have some time for Q&A. But I think every speaker, I just looked this morning, and I think every speaker that we have has already set up their photo, set up their bio. But if you haven't done that already, we do ask that you do that. Those are visible to our audience. And they love to know who our speakers are, and a little bit of background about them. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and think about doing that for us, please. And if you need some help doing that, reach out to us and we will help you through that. So go ahead to the next slide, Justine. Okay, so the next 3 slides I'm not going to go into, but Justine's going to drop some links in the chat box. These are different tutorials or kind of support for how to use Wova in case you are having any difficulty. Once you get into it, it really is a pretty intuitive app. So if you play around, you'll probably figure a lot of this out on your own. But if you're having any trouble, we want you to have the links to help support you, or you can reach out to us. So the first link, I don't know if you've already dropped that in because I'm not looking at the chat, but oh, she's already dropped them all in. So the first link is how do I even create my Wova account? That's an article. The next 2 are YouTube videos, how to sign up or sign into Wova, and then how to join discussions and meetups on Wova. So I don't know if any of you have been playing around in the Wova app, but there are interactive ways to engage with the audience already. So you can pose discussion questions to anybody that's on the Wova app. You can answer or join different discussion boards that other people have already created. I've already seen that there are people that are dropping different articles in there for the audiences to read, all kinds of wonderful, engaging, interactive things. So that last one, how to join discussions and meetups, is one you might want to check out.
Jody,
Yeah, go ahead.
And just FYI, I know we didn't state this in the beginning of the call. We will be sending all the links and the presentation. So that way, if you wanted to watch it in one shot, or you have the links, because there are some speakers who weren't able to attend at this time frame. So just know we're going to be giving that email by the end of today. So that way, and probably coming from me. So that way you have the recording of this along with all the links that are mentioned on this call. Thank you.
All right, so you can just show the next 2 slides. Those are just pictures of what the videos would be. So you have those links. So before I move on, we will have Q&A at the end, but does anybody want to ask any specific questions about Wova before we move off of that subject? I'm not seeing any hands. You can also, we're pretty informal here. You can unmute your mic and ask questions, but I'm not seeing anything come through. So we'll go ahead and move on. Okay, so not to confuse anyone, because some of you may not be involved in this, may not want to be involved in this, but there is a partnership impact showcase that's happening at the University of Central Florida on Thursday. So if you are already in Florida, already situated in your hotel, and you're interested in attending this, you can attend this. Super excited about this event. It is on the UCF campus, but we are for any hotel guests, the Disney Coronado Hotel for the API event. Any guests of the hotel, we have round trip bus transportation to the UCF campus for the Partnership Impact Showcase and back. So you don't have to worry about your cars or driving or parking or anything. So if you are interested in attending, you are welcome to do that. We're going to be talking about that information a little bit more, but there's also all that information is also in the WUBA app. Under logistics, there's the bus information, there's the Partnership Impact Showcase flyer. There's a lot of information, but if that's something that you're interested in doing, it is there for you if you would like. So go to the next slide, I think is the flyer, and it's going to be small, you're not going to be able to see it, but it is bringing research practitioners and community organizations together around the topic of the impact of partnership. So I am super excited about attending this. If you, yeah, and there's a free box lunch provided, so yay for that. All right. Before I move on, because that's all I have on that topic, does anybody have any questions specifically about the Partnership Impact Showcase?
I do have a question, because
Yes.
the UCF campus is kind of a maze for some people that are not taking the bus. Is there a specific address to the Morgridge International Reading Center for us who don't know where it is?
That's a great, great question. We can put that in the chat or we can send it out afterward. I don't know if Justine, I don't know if you can manage putting that in the chat at the same time, but we will definitely make sure that we send it out to you, as well as if you are driving yourself, we do have a code for free parking pass on the campus, because as you know, with college and university campuses, you're going to get a ticket if you park illegally, of course. So so there is free parking, but there's a code that goes along with that if you are driving yourself to that event, and we will make sure that we send it in there. Naisha says she'll throw it in there, so we'll make sure it's in the chat. But if you miss the information somehow, reach out to us. And we want to make sure everybody that wants to attend is able to attend. Any other questions about this? Not seeing anything, so I will move on. Okay, Naisha just dropped it in the chat. Thank you, Naisha. All right, so the location for the actual conference, the API conference, is the Disney Coronado Springs. All of you probably already know that because you have your hotel reservations and everything already linked up, but just in case. So the address is there. Parking is free for overnight guests if you are driving yourself to the hotel. And under logistics, again, there is a map of the resort. If you haven't been to the Coronado Springs Resort, it is a pretty big resort. So there are different, I don't know if they're called bungalows, but there are kind of different areas of the actual hotel rooms. And then there's the conference center. So it's not huge, it's easy to navigate, but we threw a map into WUBA just in case you want to acclimate yourself a little bit more. Go ahead and move to the next slide. All right, so this is just kind of an aerial view of the conference rooms themselves. So we have Coronado H, which is the main ballroom where the keynote and the general sessions where everybody's attending will be. And then we have C, D, and E as our breakout rooms, which you can see is just around the corner. And there will be electronic signage outside of the rooms with the titles of the sessions, and it'll be easy to navigate, but just in case you were wondering, I wanted you to kind of know the layout. Okay, so we're sending this out to you so that you can blow it up and actually see it on your screen, because it's a lot of information. But this is the list of the speakers, their sessions, the time, the room, and the helper. So each room is going to have a helper assigned to them to help with technology, to help with like anything that you may need during the entire session. This is basically your kind of handler, your helper. So you're always going to have somebody in there to help you. So I don't know if anybody has any questions as they're looking at this that we can answer right now. It's a lot of information to take in. Okay.
Do you have an
Move.
idea of our numbers?
Oh, okay. So I think that's on another slide, but I'll go into it right now. That's a great question. So we have 204, I believe was the final count that the capacity is 205. So if you have one friend that still wants to register, we have room for one more. So the main room, the ballroom, Coronado H will hold all of those people. That is set up in like kind of like I don't know if it's an actual stage, but the presentation area is up front. And then all of the tables are like kind of a half moon shape. So there's nobody with their back to the presenter, and 6 people at each table. So that's that setup. I think 35 to 38 tables. Each of the breakout rooms, which is Coronado E, C, and D, they are set up to have seating capacity of 50 people, and they are set up just in rows, like stadium rows of chairs. Any other questions? So in terms of the exact number, so because of the audience that we have, we didn't have people sign up for specific breakouts in advance because there are specific segments of our partners that are coming. So we know that our university partners are going to go to the university partners presentation. We know that our healthcare partners are going to go to the healthcare and wellness partners presentation. But we do have, in case there is an overflow of people, because, we're not policing where they go. So if, a bunch of people show up and they decide everybody wants to go to a specific presentation, the overflow will go into the main ballroom, Coronado H. I don't anticipate that really happening because the partners are going to, probably stick to what we guide them to do. But if there's overflow, it will go into Coronado H. Okay, you want to move on? All right, so as I mentioned before, each room is going to have a helper. We'll make sure that you get connected with that person. They will arrive a good 5-10 minutes before the start of the session. So kind of there's a transition time. They'll go straight to the room and make sure to help you get all set up. We are providing the laptops, so you don't need to bring your own. Just to clarify, we do not have Mac laptops, no Apple products. So just plan for that, just in case. We will have the projector and the screen and the clickers for the slideshow presentations. There is going to be chart paper and markers in every room if that's something that you want to do and use to engage your audience. The seats are arranged in rows, like I said before, with capacity for 50, and that we already talked about kind of overflow seating. If there is something else that you as a speaker would like to have in your room, just please reach out to myself. I'm the one that sent the email, Jody Bias. I'll put that in the chat, my email, but if there's anything else you need, just let us know. I sent the email out about you providing a title for your presentation and just a small summary paragraph. I sent that out already, but on that email, it also said if you want any handouts printed, to make sure to let us know that you would like handouts for the audience so that we can print them in advance. And thank you, Justine, for you always are just so fast, and you've always got my back. So my email address is in the chat box now. Are there any questions before I move on from this slide? Okay. So we are almost rounding out our time, but what we do need from you, if you have not already sent it to us, is the title of the presentation and just a short description. So the audience kind of will know as they are choosing which breakout to attend. They'll kind of have a sense of what they're, stepping into. So those are the things we really need to get from you by Monday, which I know is a short turnaround, and I can't apologize enough for this. The planning of this kind of got away from us, but we're getting it all pulled together. But we appreciate your patience, as I know This really is a short turnaround. So the number 3 and number 4, those are optional. So if you want to give us the slides, we can upload them into Wova and then the audience will be able to access them. You don't have to, that is, that's completely up to you. Now, if you want to send us your slides, but you really don't want the audience to access them, you can email them to me so that I can put them on a flash drive as a backup in case some kind of technology isn't working. But again, that's completely up to you. But just specify if you send something to me, let me know, is it to be printed or is it just for kind of my backup copy in case of technology issues? And then if you want any handouts printed, make sure you specify that in the email. And that is actually the last thing that I have for you, Justine. Is there anything that you can think of that I missed?
No, I don't
No.
know. However, as you all, especially those of you, we will keep our team in mind of the Wova app. They can utilize it for a Q&A, so that way they're not interrupting you as you present. If that is something you would like to incorporate, everyone should have the app when it comes down to their event. So therefore, you can use that, like if you want a Q&A at the end, and then the helper in the room can tell you the questions as you conclude your presentation. But that's sort of up to you. It's an option that we can utilize Wova as well. But if it's too late in the game, don't worry about it, disregard. But other than that, that was really all the things that Jody covered, was everything that we did.
I do think that I forgot to mention that there is going to be free Wi-Fi. So if you're relying on any kind of links, as a presenter, you all probably know that, sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. If you can download any videos or anything, that always is a great backup plan, but there is Wi-Fi. It will be working for you, hopefully. All right, so now it's time for you all to ask me whatever questions or let us know what it is that you may need. Yes, I see, Ruben, that, yeah, you can bring the slide, you can bring it with you on a flash drive. That's actually what you need to do. I probably should have said that. Bring your slides with you on some kind of a flash drive so that you can just plug right into our computers. If you want to send it to us, you can, and then we'll have a backup on our USB, but you don't have to. But you definitely need to bring your own slides. Thank you for pointing that out. That was probably a pretty important piece. All right, any other questions? Okay, well, you have my email address. Justine, would you mind throwing your email address into the mix as well? Feel free to email either one of us. We work very collaboratively together. Justine tends to be more on the technical side and the Wova side of things. She's very good with that stuff, but we will work together to make sure that all your needs are met. Once again, I'm really excited. This will be my first API since joining the center. I can't wait to feel the energy in the room of all of our partners coming together. Super excited about it. And I cannot thank you guys enough for bringing your expertise and your experience to this event and getting everybody hyped up and, ready to move forward into the future. So thank you guys so much. Naisha, is there any last thing? I know you have been a huge part of getting everybody kind of ready and planning for this event.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you all taking the time to share your expertise with our network. If you have any questions about SOW, payment, all that stuff, please direct that over to Shannon unless that's changed. And my team isn't saying no. So to Shannon, if you are just unclear about that, please know that we want to make sure that if something is not happening in that department, please let us know so we can ask them. We want you to get paid for your time and compensated as promised. But we're excited to have you, and I'm excited for you all to be here, and let us know if you need anything.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
All right. We'll see you soon.